Alrighty, let us consider this physique update, where we are with goal number 2 of 13 goals that I want to accomplish before I die. Hitting 5% body fat. I haven't posted in what feels like a week, maybe 2. Currently I'm working 2 jobs, one during the day and one at night, so my time is limited. However, that will be coming to a close within the next 2 weeks, and I'll just be working one job, a night job, door host, bouncer, security guard type of situation, and I'll be able to have more free time to focus on content creation and setting up my online training business. And more goals, just tacking them one after the other, knocking them out. With that being said, the thing that I want to focus on today with this video is hitting 5% body fat. Where are we? Alright, so it's September 28th. I last took a DEXA scan and got my body fat measured on my birthday, September 6th. Since then, I have lost 5 pounds. So I was 195.7, I think, on my birthday, and I am 190.6 today. I've lost 5 pounds. I don't know if I've lost 5 pounds of fat or if I've lost, let's say, 2 pounds of fat and 3 pounds of water, which is a possibility. As I account for that, I did the math using ChatGPT because I wasn't able to figure out the actual formula to get this equation. But essentially, if I were to lose 5 pounds of fat from my birthday, which is 195 pounds, if I were to lose 5 pounds of fat from that, I would hit my goal of 5% body fat. So I'm 190 right now, and if the 5 pounds that I lost this month did actually come from fat, then the equation would suggest that I'm currently at 5%. I'm not in belief of that. I'm just not. So instead, essentially the number that I have created for myself is once I hit 185, and I'm accounting again for loss of water weight, loss of potential muscle tissue, even though with the slight calorie deficit that I'm currently operating on, the likelihood of losing actual lean mass is small, but still accounting for it. I believe that by the time I hit 185 pounds, which is 10 pounds from what I weighed in on my birthday, then I should be at 5% body fat, which means we're 5 pounds away, and I would say probably 2-3 weeks away from hitting my second goal. What do I have to say about that? How do I feel about that? Well, I will say that since this is the best that my physique has ever been in my life, so far as being able to keep the most amount of muscle while still losing fat, all happening simultaneously, mind you, which is something that I really do want to speak at length about, which is the power of a small calorie deficit, build muscle and lose fat at the same fucking time. People aren't talking about it because, I don't know, everyone always encourages you to focus on one thing, building muscle or losing fat, and that if you're trying to chase both goals at the same time, you're not going to catch either one. And I just don't believe that, based off of the experience that I've had this year, where the smaller the deficit, the more muscle I can build while still losing fat. So that's actually a thing that I'm going to be preaching to my future clients. Small deficit, resistance training, train hard in the gym, yada yada. Anyway, as I near the end of this road of hitting my 5% body fat goal, which has been a goal for me for 3 years, dating back to 2021, so 3 years. 3 years I've had this goal, 5%. And we're weeks away from getting it. I'm going to have to be very diligent with my light intensity cardio. And right now I'm eating 2,070 calories a day, and I will continue to monitor the scale daily to see if I continue to lose weight with that calorie deficit. If I don't, let's say 3 days in a row I step on the scale and my weight is staying the same, or God forbid it goes up using that 2,070 calorie diet, well, guess what? I have two options: increasing my cardio or decreasing my calories. Those are the options when it comes to if I have hit a plateau with my weight loss. And with my desire to keep as much muscle as possible, I do not want to drop the calories. Instead, I would rather increase the cardio, continue to check my weight daily to see if that actually changes anything. And in the event that, let's say, 3 days go by and the weight stays the same, or like I said, goes up, lower the calories by, I would do 200, and now I'll be eating at 1,800 calorie as opposed to 2,000. And that's what I would do and continue until I hit my 5%. My thought on it, knowing that I'm weeks away and seeing what my body looks like, right now, if I had to guess, I'm probably, based off of the results of the DEXA scan on September 6th, I would have to say that I'm probably 7% body fat. And again, I might not feel that way. If I had to assess based off of my eye test, I would say I'm closer to, let's see, 7.5. I would say 7.5. But, you know, we need some sort of measuring tool, and the DEXA scan is the thing that I have chosen to use. And I'm just going to go with the results of the DEXA scan. With that being said, I don't think 5% body fat is going to impress me. And it's been a number that I've been chasing for, like I said, 3 years. However, now that I'm so close to it, I think I've been waiting for, to feel the difficulty. What I researched when I was really obsessed about achieving this low level of body fat is that when people are competing in bodybuilding competitions and they talk about the cut and they talk about how their sex drive goes down and they're tired all the time and hungry all the time and they have trouble sleeping, and all these negative things occur as they continue to get more and more shredded. I've been waiting for those things to happen, and it hasn't. And this is the second time this year that I've actually been on a successful cut. At the beginning of the year, I was on a 1,700 calorie deficit, and yeah, I was lighter than I am now. The lowest that I got this year was 184. That was in February, and very similar body fat to where I am now. I just weigh 5 pounds more, and that's from lean muscle tissue. So I'm more shredded and bigger than when I was at the beginning of the year, but I was still losing fat both times. And in both times, I did not experience this whole phenomena of getting weaker as a result of the calorie deficit. And I feel like I've been waiting for that, which makes me think maybe my body fat set point is comfortable at these low levels of body fat. Maybe I'm just able to function better than other people who have this passion or this drive to be shredded. Essentially, I probably have the ability to look like this year round, as opposed to other individuals who, let's say, are bodybuilders They cut for a season, they cut for a show, they get shredded, they get their 5% or their 4% body fat, and then they step on stage, take a bunch of pictures, win some trophies, and then go back to a maintenance level of body fat that's, if it's single digit, it's like 8 or 9 or, 10, 11, 12%, and that's what they're walking around with. I don't think that's going to be the case for me. I think that I feel comfortable at least at 7%. I haven't hit 5 yet, but I feel comfortable at 7. I think this is something that I can maintain for year round. And keeping in mind that I don't plan on stepping on stage in a bodybuilding competition for at least a year to give me the opportunity to grow my legs further. And it's just, this is my look, and this is the look that comes quite easily to me. Also, what I've been thinking about is we have a number in mind, and that number is 5%, but what do we actually want to look like? And I've talked about before, my goal is greatest aesthetic physique of all time. What does that look like? I feel like I have researched actual bodybuilders more this year than I ever have. I've learned names of bodybuilding legends that I didn't even know existed, such as Lee Haney, who didn't even know until a couple weeks ago. He is tied for the most Mr. Olympia wins, next to Ronnie Coleman. They both have 8 victories. I didn't even know Lee Haney existed. I knew Ronnie Coleman existed. He's like the more famous of the two. But Lee Haney came before Ronnie Coleman, and he has just as many victories. And, in doing the research with Lee Haney, he talks about muscle separation and muscle maturity. And, when, I can go on social media and scroll and see tons of shredded guys definitely walking around at 5 or 4 or even lower percent of body fat. And I see that and I ask myself, okay, well, I see what looking shredded looks like. What am I bringing to the table so far as, if my pursuit is greatest aesthetic physique of all time, it's got to be more than just being shredded. It can't just be that. And I have to prioritize size and, like Lee Haney says, muscle separation, where it has to, essentially, I think that my goal when it comes to peaking my physique is having every body part pronounced. Everything is easily identifiable, and each muscle group is clearly outlined before it goes into the next one. So, and I'm sure there's more accurate terminology for what I'm trying to describe, but this is exactly what I'm going for, where the gift or the success of getting to a low body fat allows an individual to see where muscles begin and where muscles end. So take, for example, my forearm. You see the forearm, it flares here, and that's the result of building my forearm. So you get a flare here, and then it tapers back as it goes and starts into the upper arm, biceps and triceps area. And essentially, the more shredded I get, the greater opportunity I have to actually pronounce the differences in the muscles. Biceps, the brachialis, the triceps, and how each muscle is separated from one another, yet they're like connecting. So it's like, essentially it's body sculpting. And it's something I've talked about before, but I understand as I get closer to hitting my goal that is exactly what we're doing. And body sculpting is not just about getting shredded. It's also about, like I said, the size and making sure that every single muscle group and muscle part is pronounced and easily identifiable. It's going to be difficult because I have to be very precise and I have to be very methodical with my workouts, where it's like I have never trained forearms just for the sake of training forearms until this year. Same thing with my middle and lower traps. Wasn't a thing that I thought about until this year. And now I'm thinking about every single muscle group along my body because they all need attention. And, you know, with the compound movements that I've been doing up until this time, bench press, cable rows, chin-ups, squats, all these compound movements that are staples of resistance training and many people's exercise routine, they hit the big body parts and the supplementary or the complementary body parts, such as like if I'm doing a chin-up, I'm hitting my back and my biceps, especially if I do a supinated grip, yada, yada, yada. But what's beyond it? What do we need to do in order to emphasize the body parts that aren't really being targeted, such as the brachialis, such as the adductors of my leg muscles and shit like that. So this is how I'm thinking. Long story short, yeah, I'm about to cross off goal number 2 of hitting 5%. However, I think that for 1, I can probably go lower to 4%. And for 2, this is not my peak. When it comes to the grand scheme of sculpting a perfect looking physique, it's not just being in a low body fat percentage. It's about keeping on mass, the size of the muscle, and also defining the muscle, which means training, more and more training, isolating the body part that I want to focus on and hitting that effectively so that when I'm walking around at 5% or 4%, you actually see exactly what I want you to see. I always feel like I could do a better job explaining my vision, but that's the whole thing about not scripting your videos out before you hit the record button. But I think you have a general idea as to what I'm saying. I ramble sometimes, so I apologize about that. But yeah, body sculpting, and I think about my future and what it looks like, and it's just more hours in the gym and more intention to hitting body parts individually to make sure that I'm actually stimulating and growing the muscle. We've come a long ways already, but we have a lot further to go, and getting to 5% is really just a pit stop at this point. Next year is going to be a really great opportunity to work within my calorie range and build as much muscle as possible without gaining really any fat. So that's what I got. I'm also going to do a quick back shot because, again, middle and lower traps, I see room for improvement and development. Just my back in general can get more developed. And again, lower body fat and greater emphasis on hypertrophy in those areas. So, which is interesting because I've been doing chin-ups my entire life, and to see what my chin-ups have hit in comparison to what it hasn't is interesting to me. This is really high level shit. Maybe it's interesting to somebody. Man, it's making me sweat. Let's do a couple front shots just to tie it up. A little ab and thigh, even though the thigh's not in the shot. A year ago, I didn't even know what these poses were called. So, progress. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. definitely room for improvement. Okay. Front lat spread. See if I can hit a vacuum. Don't really like the front lat spread. Okay, how about a most muscular? Definitely not my strongest. Okay, what else we got? Side chest. Remember to smile. Okay, Jesus, I am sweating. Okay, and then tricep. It's kind of fun. Anything else I can come up with? I think we hit everything. Oh man, it's gonna be a journey. It's gonna be a journey. If you're watching, thank you, and see you on the next one.